Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. Today is also we'll be talking about our weekly Torah portion. And our weekly Torah portion, Pekudei, the calculations, accounting on everything that was done in order to construct the temple. It's actually completing the second book of Torah, the book of Shmois, and I hope all of you will join the synagogue service and will scream Chazak, Chazak, we need Chazak, that will strengthen ourselves to read more and more books of Torah. But it's pretty logical that this calculation of everything that was given to the temple, how the temple was constructed, is like a total, the ending part of the previous chapters in the book of Shmois, but that discussing all the details of the building of the temples and the priestly garments and so on, besides just a small downfall, not very small, but downfall of the golden calf. But the book of Shmois is not dedicated only to those practical and technical mitzvahs. The beginning is slavery, then Exodus, then Revelation, Mount Sinai. So we must say that it's actually summarized everything that is said in book of Shmois, this calculation, and that means that the way out of the slavery, the new freedom, is to build the temple and start the new service of the Master of the universe. But I want to give you another perspective, because the book of Shmois, our sages said, we cannot read separately from the previous book of Bereshit, because how the book of Shmois begins? It begins with the words Ve'ela Shmot Bnei Israel, and those are the names of the sons of Israel. And the key words here, and, in English it's a word, but in Hebrew it's just a prefix, the letter Vav, V. And Vav, it's just a small line. So our sages say that it connects the previous book of Bereshit, and the book of Shemot begins, and it's a continuation of the book. But I want to give you a different perspective. If we will look at the book of Vav as a line of mirroring, of reflecting the image, if you reflect the image with the mirror, whatever is closer to this line, it reflects closer. But whatever is further, it reflects further. And we can see the logic behind this, because the book of Bereshit ends up with, again, listing all the names of the Jewish people and how they settled the land of Egypt. And it begins the next book of Shmois, with the listing the names of the Jewish people and settling in the land of Egypt. But as further we go, we can see more reflections. And this means that the beginning of the creation, then the beginning of the book of Bereshit bara Elokim, at the beginning God created the heaven and the earth, it reflects towards the end of the book of Shmois, where we construct the temple. And the key to understand this reflection and how it correlates one with each other, the creation of the world and building of the temple, the key to this is the number 7. It's obvious, you know, that God created world in 7 days. But it's more than that. There are 7 words in the first sentence of the Bereshit bara Elokim. There are 14 words in the second sentence. 21 times the word Eretz, land, is mentioned in the 7 days of the creation. 35 times the word Elokim, the God's name with which He created the world, is mentioned in the 7 days of the creation. And it reflects beautifully in the last chapter of the book of Shmois as a mirror reflection, because the phrase Kasher Tziva Hashem et Moshe, as God commanded Moses, mentioned 7 times about the priestly garments in our parsha, and 7 times about the building, constructing the actual temple, the same exact phrase, besides the fact that the temple was constructed in 7 days. Our mystics say that the number 7 reflects the idea of nature. And I think it's not just a mathematics or arithmetics. There's a very profound lesson here, that the God created this world, He created nature. In 7 days, He gave us tools how we can create the world, recreate the world every moment together with Him. But this was His creation, unlimited creation. We use this number 7, utilize those tools of nature to create the temple where God should dwell. And the mitzvah of building the temple, it's relevant to us today. We should build our own temple, find our own congregation, our own community, build your own temple, your own Jewish family, and then we will close the circle, and the God will dwell among us. Thank you very much. I see you next week.